Hello everyone, welcome to IELTS Speed Up course offered by Thompson School. And this is the 8th lesson of our course and 4th lesson dedicated to IELTS reading. So this is the last lesson for reading, guys, and in today's lesson we will focus on matching features and matching sentence endings question types. You probably understand the main idea, logic behind these questions. So what is matching features? You might be given certain event and list of years, and based on information you find in the passage, you should match the event and year. So in other words, in what year this happened. And of course, matching sentence endings, I think this is very simple to understand. You will be given first half of the sentence and you should match appropriate ending. And of course, for this you will have to read the text. So first, let's start from matching features questions, and we will go through the issues that students may have while they are coping or working with these question types. First, you should understand that the answers are not in order in the passage. So this is one of the challenges of this question type. And of course, one name or year might be used several times, and some of them might be even not used at all. So again, let me remind you basic exam techniques, and probably you remember that you should follow these rules in order to get good score in IELTS reading. And of course, extra tips that you should read at normal speed. Do not try to read very quickly, because sometimes when students are trying to read very fast, they don't even understand what they are reading about. And of course, never go deep into the passage. So you should skim and scan for names or numbers. And of course, you should miss or skip difficult questions, because you should understand that your time is limited. And of course, let's focus on the techniques for this question type. First of all, you should work with keywords in the statement. You should underline keywords, and if possible, it is always better if you paraphrase the whole statement. You translate it into simple language so you can remember this easily. And of course, scan the passage to find all the names and years. So this is very easy, guys, and you should find this part of the passage and read this part carefully. And to be more comfortable, you should highlight each name and year, so it's better to circle them. And of course, you should choose name or year with the shortest description, because it is easier to read, and read the sentences around that name or year and then underline the main ideas, because this is what matters. And of course, compare with all of the question statements. Go through the question statements to see if any of them match what you read, and you should do this every time. So this is sample question, guys, and of course the title of this text is Why Being Bored is Stimulating and Useful Too. So here I already highlighted the most important parts in order to save some time, and of course here we have a list of ideas, and your task is match each person with the correct idea. And here you can see the scientists or the people that are mentioned in the passage, and your task is to match these ideas and names. As you can see, we have 5 ideas and 5 people, and it doesn't mean that you should be eliminating each idea after you match it with certain person. So as it was mentioned before, one idea can be used more than once, and some of them might even not be used. Okay, guys, first, what you should start from? You should start from understanding each idea, because this is the best way to match ideas in the passage. If you don't understand them, you will have some difficulties, and just working with keywords may not be effective. So let's look at the idea A. The way we live today may encourage boredom. So our lifestyles, how we live, may cause boredom. I think this is pretty simple and straightforward. And another one is one sort of boredom is worse than all the others. So you should find part in the passage that states there are several types of boredom and one of them is the worst. So it has, let's say, more negative influence compared to others. And idea C, boredom certainly has positive influence. So I think this is very simple and clear. So this is about positive effects, influence of boredom. Trying to cope with boredom can increase its negative effects. So when you try to do something against boredom, when you fight against it, or you try to make the situation better, you can end up making it worse. And of course, the last one, boredom may encourage us to avoid an unpleasant experience. So boredom may help people to stay away from unpleasant experience, unwanted experience. And what we do? First, you should go to the people. Here we have Peter Tuhey, Thomas Goetz, John Eastwood, Francois Wemmelsfelder, Sandy Mann. So your task is to find these names in the passage and read what is their opinion. So how we do it? It's already highlighted, guys, and here we have Peter Tuhey. A lively history. Peter Tuhey at the University of Calgary, Canada, compares it to disgust, an emotion that motivates us to stay away from certain situations. If disgust protects humans from infection, boredom may protect them from infectious social situations. So I think this is already clear, guys. So this person compares it to disgust. So what is disgust? Something that you don't want, something unwanted. And of course, it helps us to stay away from unpleasant experiences. And the answer is E. So for Peter Tuhey, we have E. Now, next person is Thomas Goetz. And as you can see, it's already highlighted in the passage. By asking people about their experiences of boredom, Thomas Goetz and his team at the University of Constance in Germany have recently identified 5 distinct types: indifferent, calibrating, surging, reactant, and apathetic. Goetz has found that while people experience all kinds of boredom, they tend to specialize in one. Of the 5 types, the most damaging is reactant. So this person is stating that there are 5 different types of boredom, and reactant is actually the most damaging. So I think here it's clear the answer is B. One sort of boredom is worse than all the others. So for Thomas Goetz, we have B. And next scientist's name is John Eastwood. So it's here. What's more, your efforts to improve the situation can end up making you feel worse. People try to connect with the world, and if they are not successful, there is that frustration and irritability, he says. Perhaps most worryingly, says Eastwood, repeatedly failing to engage attention can lead to a state where we don't know what to do anymore and no longer care. So the first sentence already provides the answer here. Your efforts to improve the situation can end up making you feel worse. So the answer here is D, trying to cope. So trying to improve the situation, making it better. Okay, trying to cope with boredom can increase its negative effects. And of course, we have Wemelsfelder, so he's here. Psychologist Francois Wemelsfelder speculates that our overconnected lifestyles might even be a new source of boredom. So, this is a person who talks about our lifestyles and boredom, so there is connection between them. So, the answer is A. The way we live today may encourage boredom. And we have Sandy Mann. So, psychologist Sandy Mann at the University of Central Lancashire, UK, goes further. All emotions are there for a reason, including boredom, she says. Man has found that being bored makes us more creative. We are all afraid of being bored, but in actual fact, it can lead to all kinds of amazing things. So, amazing, something positive. And of course, the answer is C. As you can see, this task is not that difficult and challenging if you understand, analyze each idea. Keep in mind, before starting reading the passage or trying to locate the answer, you should go through the list of ideas, and it's always better to paraphrase them, translate them into simple language. It's how I call it. And of course, so the strategy is pretty simple. You will be given names and try to locate these names in the passage and read around this name. Okay, let's consider following example here. So you're given list of dates and list of events, and your task is to match appropriate event with corresponding year, depending on the information you find in the passage. So this is very simple, guys, and what is the logic here? First, I strongly recommend you to go through the events and clearly understand them. Okay, first, a search for the Marie Rose was launched. Launched means started. They started looking for the Marie Rose. And second, one person's exploration of the Marie Rose site stopped. So exploring, visiting. So one person stopped visiting the Marie Rose. And of course, the third one, it was agreed that the hull of the Marie Rose should be erased. So what does that mean? We have here one word that clearly indicates that we are looking for the date when go ahead was given, so agreed. So everything was ready, prepared, and they gave go ahead to raise the hull of the Marie Rose. And the site of the Marie Rose was found by chance. I think this one is quite simple and straightforward. And what strategy we are going to use here? So the best and easiest strategy here is to look for these years. So as long as you locate these years, it's always good if you circle them, highlight them, and read around these numbers and find out what happened this year. And of course, it's going to be very easy to match these events after you got the point, after you understood them. And of course, I already highlighted everything here for you guys, and let's start. Then on 16 June 1836, some fishermen in the Solent found that their equipment was caught on an underwater obstruction, which turned out to be the Marie Rose. So here we have signal words found that, so they are finding out it, so they didn't expect it. Caught, so it was by chance. And moreover, we have turned out, they didn't know what is this, and it turned out to be the Marie Rose. And the year is 1836. So this is the answer for the question number 4. The site of the Marie Rose was found by chance, and the answer is A. I think this is very clear. Now, okay, Dean continued diving on the site intermittently until 1840. intermittently. What does that mean? It means continuously, non-stop. So until 1840, then he stopped. So one person stopped diving on the site, and the year was 1840. So the answer for the question number 2 is B. One person's exploration of the Marie Rose site stopped. So as I said before, this is very simple if you understand everything here. And of course, use appropriate strategy. And okay, let's continue. Okay. But in 1965, military historian and amateur diver Alexander Mackey, in conjunction with the British Sub-Aqua Club, initiated a project called Solent Ships. While on paper this was a plan to examine a number of known wrecks in the Solent, what Mackey really hoped for was to find the Marie Rose. So they started looking for the Marie Rose. Maybe on paper it was something different, but in fact they were hoping to find the Marie Rose. So the year is 1965. So they started it. A search for the Marie Rose was launched, and the answer is C, 1965. Okay. The decision whether or not to salvage the wreck was not an easy one, although an excavation in 1978 had shown that it might be possible to raise the hull, while the original aim was to raise the hull if at all feasible. The operation was not given the go-ahead until January 1982, when all the necessary information was available. So everything was ready by 1978, but the real go-ahead was given in 1982. Okay, so the answer for the third question, it was agreed that the hull of the Marie Rose should be raised, happened in 1982. So the answer is G. So as you can see, this is not difficult or challenging task as long as you work properly, as long as you organize your passage, organize your ideas, and of course use appropriate strategy here. And now we'll move to the next question type, and this is matching sentence endings. And you probably understand the logic of this task very well, because you will be given first half and you will be given options, and of course you should match them. And let's first go through the common difficulties, issues that IELTS students may face. And the first one is the answers are not in order in the passage. Yes, so you should be very careful. And some of the endings might be similar. This is a very huge problem, especially if students don't have appropriate vocabulary. You should pay attention to every single word that you're given in the sentence, because even that single word may change the meaning of this sentence. And of course I will show you how. Some of the endings may not be needed. Yes, sometimes students may forget it. You are not going to use all of them. Some of them will be skipped, eliminated, so be ready for this. Okay, this is the passage, guys, and what we should start from. First of all, you are given options and the beginnings, and I want you to focus on the list of endings, because this is more important to understand them. And when it comes to the first half, you should choose appropriate keywords from the first half and of course match the meaning in the endings. First, generating work that was virtually indistinguishable from that of humans. So generating work means creating work that was virtually. Virtually means when you see or hear it, and indistinguishable means you cannot differentiate. And as you can see here, the text is about artificial artists. So can computers really create works of art? And of course, Having this in mind, you can simply understand that the option A is talking about computers creating some artwork that cannot be differentiated. So whether this is done by human or by a computer and generating work. And B, knowing whether it was the work of humans or software. Most of the time students might be confused because A and B may seem similar, but in fact they are not. Because in the option B we have knowing whether it was the work of humans or software. So you just look at it or hear it and you can simply say, hey, this was done by a computer and this one is something made by a person. And A is generating, creating a work, so the focus is completely different. So be careful and analyze options carefully. Producing a work entirely dependent on the imagination of its creator. So what does that mean? Producing work, creating work entirely dependent on the imagination of its creator. So let's imagine Mona Lisa has been created by Leonardo da Vinci in the past, and software, so machine, computer, uses up this person's imagination and recreates his artwork. D. Comparing the artistic achievements of humans and computers. So who is better? You probably understand it here. E. Revealing the technical details of his program. What does that mean? Revealing means telling. So telling the secret or details of his program, how it works. And F. Persuading the public to appreciate computer art. Persuading means motivating, encouraging, trying to make it more popular. So I think this one is very clear. And discovering that it was the product of a computer program. Discovering means you find it out. So still, A, B, G might be very similar, but there are differences and you should know them very well. So I hope you don't have problems here and what strategy we are going to use here. As I said before, you should select appropriate keywords here. And of course, look at the question number 32. Simon Colton says it is important to consider the long-term view when. So the best keyword here is Simon Colton, and we have long-term view. So name is very simple to find in the passage. So we will use it. So Simon Colton. Oops. Okay, it's here. Simon Colton, the designer of the painting Fool, is keen to make sure his creation doesn't attract the same criticism. Unlike earlier artists such as Aaron, the painting Fool only needs minimal direction and can come up with its own concepts by going online for material. Okay, so we don't have it here. And okay, look at this highlighted part of the passage. Why I showed you the other part? Because you should focus on every single paragraph where you see this name. Researchers like Colton do not believe it's right to measure machine creativity directly to that of humans who have had millennia to develop our skills. So he's talking about measuring the creativity, okay, directly to that of humans who have had millennia. So this is a word derived from the word millennium, 1000 years. So what he wants to say is that it is not correct to measure creativity because human beings had millennia to develop their skills. So we had a lot of time, and the answer here is going to be, okay, let's go through everything here, and okay, the answer is D, comparing the artistic achievements of humans and computers. Simon Colton says it is important to consider the long-term view when comparing the artistic achievements of humans and computers because humans had more time to develop their skills. Okay, David Cope's EMI software. surprised people by what? So, David Cope invented a program called Experiments in Musical Intelligence, or EMI. Not only did EMI create compositions on Cope's style, but also that of the most revered classical composers, including Bach, Chopin, and Mozart. Audiences were moved to tears, and EMI even fooled classical music experts into thinking they were hearing Jeanine Bach. So people were hearing to the composition created by EMI, and they thought that this is original work. Even experts couldn't differentiate it. So they were hearing, and of course the answer is A. How it surprised by generating work, by creating work that was virtually indistinguishable from that of humans, because even experts couldn't differentiate it. And of course we have here Gerard Wiggins criticized Cope for not, why he was criticized. Some, such as Wiggins, have blasted Cope's work as pseudoscience and condemned him, criticized him, blamed him for his deliberately vague explanation of how the software worked. So vague explanation, what does that mean? Vague means too big, too vast, and not clear, not precise. So ambiguous. And of course, the answer here is clear, not revealing the technical details of his program, because the explanation how software really works was vague. Okay, Douglas Hofstadter. Meanwhile, Douglas Hofstadter of Indiana University said EMI created replicas which still rely completely on the original artist's creative impulses. When audiences found out the truth, they were often outraged with Cope, and one music lover even tried to punch him. Amid such controversy, Cope destroyed EMI's vital databases. So, as it said here, EMI created replicas which still rely completely on the original artist's creative impulses. So, the answer is C, producing work entirely dependent on the imagination of its creator. So as you can see, this is not that difficult as long as you understand and of course use appropriate strategy. So what is going to be your home assignment? First, I would like to ask you to practice these questions, and IELTSonlinetest.com is a good website, and of course you can use other books if you want, and you should go through the matching questions, and do not forget to send your screenshots of your results, because this is very important. And of course, check your answers and prepare a keyword table for each test. You should be very good at differentiating the words, and of course keyword table will help you a lot. And of course, do not forget to work on your mistakes, and remember, we learn on them. Read again and analyze your mistakes using the keyword table. And of course, translate and learn all the vocabularies and collocations. You should always try to enrich your vocabulary. Thank you for your attention, guys. This is the end of our lesson. See you next time.